The December wind cut through Marcus's jacket as he hurried across the Fairview Mall parking lot, clutching a small, wrapped box containing the frozen Elsa doll his 4-year-old daughter Emma had been asking for all month. At 26, Marcus had learned to move quickly through public spaces, avoiding the judgmental stares that seemed to follow young single fathers everywhere. His worn sneakers splashed through shallow puddles left by the afternoon's drizzle, and he was already mentally calculating whether he had enough gas money to get home when he saw her. A woman sat hunched on the concrete steps leading to the mall's side entrance, her whole body shaking with sobs that seemed to echo off the brick walls. Her designer handbag lay forgotten beside her, its contents scattered across the wet pavement. Credit cards, receipts, and what looked like medication bottles had spilled out, but she seemed oblivious to everything except her overwhelming grief. Marcus slowed his pace, instinctively looking around to see if anyone else had noticed her distress. Shoppers walked past without a glance, some actively steering their carts in wide arcs to avoid her. A security guard stood near the main entrance, but he was busy checking his phone, apparently unaware of the scene unfolding just 50 yards away. Something about her desperation reminded Marcus of his own darkest moments. The nights after Emma's mother left, when he'd sit in his daughter's nursery, wondering how he could possibly raise a child alone. The overwhelming fear that he wasn't enough, that he'd fail at the one thing that mattered most. Hey there, before we continue with Marcus's story, tell us where in the world you're listening from. We love connecting with our global community and seeing how these stories of human compassion reach every corner of the earth. Marcus found himself changing direction, walking toward the distressed woman instead of his car. As he got closer, he could see she was probably in her early 30s, with shoulder-length brown hair that had fallen across her face like a curtain. She wore a navy business suit that suggested she'd come here directly from work, but her professional composure had completely crumbled. "Excuse me," Marcus said softly, stopping a respectful distance away. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman looked up with eyes so red and swollen from crying that Marcus felt his heart clench. She stared at him for a long moment, as if she couldn't quite process that someone had actually stopped to check on her. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice hoarse from crying. "I'm making a scene. I should go." "No, don't apologize," Marcus said, settling down on the steps beside her, leaving enough space so she wouldn't feel crowded. "And you're not making a scene. You're just human." She let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. "Human? Yeah, I guess that's what this is." Marcus noticed her scattered belongings and began gathering them without asking, placing each item carefully back in her purse. Among the items was a prescription bottle, and he couldn't help but notice the name. "Dr. Sarah Chen, pediatric oncologist." "You're a doctor," he observed, handing her the bottle. Sarah nodded, wiping her nose with a tissue that had seen better days. "Pediatric oncologist at Children's Memorial. I spend my days trying to save other people's children." Her voice broke. "Again. But I couldn't save my own." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He'd been prepared for a breakup, job loss, financial troubles. But this was every parent's worst nightmare. "I'm so sorry," he said, and meant it with every fiber of his being. "How old?" 6. Sarah's voice was barely audible. "Leukemia. We fought for 2 years. 2 years of treatments and hope and setbacks and small victories. She was responding so well to the latest round of chemo. Her numbers were improving. The doctors were optimistic." She pulled a phone from her jacket pocket and showed Marcus the lock screen. A little girl with bright eyes and a colorful headscarf, grinning at the camera with gap-toothed joy. "Lily," Sarah continued. "She died 3 days ago. Sudden complications. From an infection. Her immune system was too compromised to fight it off." Tears streamed down her face. "I'm a doctor, Marcus. I understand exactly what went wrong, all the medical reasons why her body couldn't handle it anymore, but understanding doesn't make it hurt any less. Marcus felt his own eyes burning. He thought about Emma, probably napping right now at his mother's house, completely healthy and oblivious to how fragile life could be. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Sarah. Dr. Sarah Chen. Though I guess that doesn't matter much anymore. I haven't been back to work since she died. I don't know how to walk back into that hospital and pretend I still believe in hope when mine is gone." "I'm Marcus," he replied, "and I think you're braver than you know." Sarah looked at him with surprise. "Brave? I'm falling apart in a mall parking lot." "You're still here," Marcus said simply. "After losing the most important person in your world, you're still here. That takes incredible courage." They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching shoppers hurry past with their bags full of holiday purchases. The contrast between their grief and the festive atmosphere around them felt almost surreal. "Do you have children?" Sarah asked suddenly. Marcus smiled, pulling out his own phone to show her Emma's picture. "Emma, she's 4. It's just been the two of us since she was 18 months old. Her mom decided motherhood wasn't for her and left one day while I was at work." "That must have been terrifying," Sarah said, studying the photo. "She's beautiful. She has your eyes." "It was the scariest thing I'd ever experienced," Marcus admitted. "I was 22, working construction, barely making ends meet. Suddenly, I was responsible for this tiny person who needed everything from me: diapers, bottles, bedtime stories, doctor visits. I had no idea what I was doing. But you figured it out." "I'm still figuring it out," Marcus laughed. "Every day is a new challenge. Today I spent 20 minutes trying to explain why she can't have ice cream for breakfast, and another 10 minutes negotiating with her about wearing pants to daycare." Despite her grief, Sarah found herself smiling. Lily went through a phase where she refused to wear anything but princess dresses, even to chemo appointments. The nurses at the hospital started calling her Princess Lily. She sounds like she had strong opinions. The strongest. She was so determined to beat the cancer. She'd tell everyone she was going to be a doctor like Mommy when she grew up, so she could help other sick kids feel better. Sarah's voice caught. She never complained about the treatments, never asked why this was happening to her. She just fought with everything she had. Marcus watched Sarah's face transform as she talked about her daughter. Despite her grief, love radiated from every word, every memory she shared. "Tell me more about her," he said. "What did she love to do?" For the next half hour, Sarah shared stories about Lily. She told Marcus about her daughter's obsession with dinosaurs, her elaborate tea parties with stuffed animals, her insistence on reading bedtime stories to Sarah instead of the other way around. She described Lily's infectious laugh, her terrible knock-knock jokes, her determination to learn piano despite having no musical talent whatsoever. Marcus listened intently, asking questions and laughing at the appropriate moments. He understood, instinctively, that Sarah needed someone to witness her love for Lily, to acknowledge that her daughter had existed and mattered. "She would have loved Emma," Sarah said eventually. "Lily always wanted a little sister. She used to beg me to give her one for Christmas. What did you tell her? That some wishes take time and some families are perfect just the way they are?" Sarah's smile faded. "I should have tried harder to give her siblings. Maybe if I'd met someone, gotten married, had more children." "Sarah," Marcus interrupted gently, "you gave Lily everything she needed. Love, care, medical expertise, hope. You fought alongside her every single day. That's what mattered to her." "How do you know?" "Because I can see it in your face when you talk about her. That kind of love doesn't go unnoticed by a child. Emma's mother left, and sometimes I wonder if I'm enough for her, if she's missing out because she doesn't have that traditional family structure. But then I remember that what matters isn't the size of your family or its shape, it's the depth of love within it." Sarah was quiet for a long moment, processing his words. "The funeral is tomorrow," she said finally. "I don't know how I'm going to get through it. How do you bury your child? How do you say goodbye to someone who was supposed to outlive you by decades?" Marcus felt his heart break for her. "You don't have to say goodbye," he said quietly. "Love doesn't die when someone does. Lily will always be part of you. The way she laughed, the way she saw the world, the joy she brought to every room, that doesn't disappear. I keep expecting to hear her calling for me from her room," Sarah whispered. "Yesterday morning, I made 2 cups of hot chocolate out of habit before I remembered she wasn't there to drink it." "What did you do with the 2nd cup?" "I drank it. It seemed wrong to waste it." She looked at Marcus with fresh tears. "Is that crazy?" "Not at all. I think Lily would have liked that you didn't let her hot chocolate go to waste. She sounds like she was practical like her mother." They were interrupted by Marcus's phone buzzing with a text message. He glanced at it and saw a message from his mother. "Emma's asking when Daddy's coming home. She wants to show you the picture she drew at school." Sarah noticed his expression change. "You need to go," she said. "Your daughter needs you." Marcus felt torn. He wanted to stay with Sarah, to make sure she was okay, but Emma was waiting for him. "Are you going to be all right? Do you have someone to call? Family or friends who can be with you tonight?" Sarah shook her head. "My parents live across the country. Lily and I were pretty much on our own here. I have colleagues at the hospital, but we're not really close. When your whole world revolves around your child and their illness, you don't have much energy left for maintaining friendships." The thought of leaving her alone felt wrong to Marcus. He made a decision that surprised even him. "Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?" he asked. "Nothing fancy, just Emma and me. She's 4, so fair warning, the conversation will probably revolve around Disney princesses and why vegetables are gross." Sarah stared at him in shock. "You don't even know me. I'm a complete stranger who broke down in a parking lot." "You're not a stranger," Marcus replied. "You're a mother who loved her child more than life itself. You're a doctor who dedicated her career to helping other families, and right now, you're someone who shouldn't be alone. I don't want to impose on your family time." "You wouldn't be imposing. Emma loves meeting new people, and honestly, I think she'd be fascinated to meet a real doctor. She's been playing hospital with her dolls ever since her last pediatrician visit." Sarah considered the invitation, weighing her desire to retreat into solitude against her fear of spending another night alone with her grief. "Are you sure?" she asked hesitantly. "I'm not exactly good company right now. I might cry again." "Emma's seen me cry plenty of times," Marcus said with a gentle smile. "Pixar movies, stubbed toes, the time she told me I was the best daddy in the world. Tears don't scare her. Something about his easy acceptance of emotion, his lack of judgment made Sarah's decision for her." "Okay," she said quietly. "Thank you, I'd like that." They exchanged phone numbers, and Marcus gave her his address, a small apartment about 10 minutes from the mall. As they prepared to part ways in the parking lot, Sarah grabbed his arm. "Marcus," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for stopping. Thank you for seeing me. Most people would have just kept walking." "Most people are dealing with their own pain," Marcus replied. "They're not heartless, just overwhelmed. But sometimes we have to choose to see each other, to be present for someone else's struggle." As Marcus drove home, he thought about the conversation ahead with Emma. How do you explain to a 4-year-old that they're having a dinner guest who lost her daughter? How do you help a child understand grief without frightening her? When he arrived at his mother's house to pick up Emma, she bounded into his arms with typical 4-year-old enthusiasm. "Daddy, look what I drew." She thrust a crayon drawing at him, a colorful mess of lines and shapes that might have been a family or possibly abstract art. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Tell me about it." "That's you." Emma pointed to a tall stick figure with spiky hair. "And that's me, and that's Grandma, and that's—" She paused, looking thoughtful. "That's a sad lady I dreamed about. She needs hugs." Marcus's mother, Helen, raised an eyebrow. "She's been talking about this sad lady all afternoon. Says she drew her because she wants to help her feel better. Sometimes children's intuition amazed Marcus. Actually, Em, we're going to have a dinner guest tonight, a lady who's very sad right now, and I thought maybe we could help her feel a little better." Emma's eyes lit up. "The sad lady from my picture, really?" "Well, maybe not the same one, but yes, a sad lady who could use some friends." That evening, Sarah arrived at their apartment carrying a bouquet of flowers and looking nervous. She'd changed into jeans and a sweater, but her eyes still showed the strain of the past few days. Emma opened the door before Marcus could reach it, having been stationed by the window watching for their guest. "Are you the sad lady?" Emma asked with 4-year-old directness. Sarah knelt down to Emma's level, managing a small smile. "I am a little sad right now. Is that okay?" "It's okay to be sad," Emma said solemnly. "Daddy says feelings are like weather. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's rainy, but it always changes." Marcus felt his heart swell with pride at his daughter's wisdom and compassion. Dinner was a simple affair, spaghetti and meatballs with garlic bread, but Emma kept the conversation flowing with chatter about her day at daycare, her favorite movies, and her plans to be a princess doctor astronaut when she grew up. "You want to be a doctor?" Sarah asked, genuinely interested. "Uh-huh, so I can help people feel better when they're hurt. Like when I fell down and scraped my knee, the doctor put a bandage on it and gave me a sticker." "Being a doctor is a very important job," Sarah said. "You have to study very hard and care very much about helping people." "Do you help people?" Sarah's composure wavered for a moment. "I try to. I'm a doctor too, actually. I help sick children." "Like me?" "Well, you're not sick, sweetheart. But yes, I help children your age when they don't feel well." Emma considered. "This seriously?" Then got up from her chair and disappeared into her room. She returned moments later with a worn stuffed elephant. "This is Dr. Peanuts," she announced, placing the elephant in Sarah's hands. "He helps people feel better. Maybe he can help you too." Sarah stared down at the stuffed animal, its fur matted from years of love and comfort. The simple gesture, offered with such pure intention, broke something open in her chest. "Thank you, Emma," she whispered, hugging the elephant close. "Dr. Peanuts is very special. You can borrow him," Emma said generously. "But you have to give him back, because he sleeps with me." After dinner, while Marcus did dishes, Emma insisted on showing Sarah her room and all her toys. Sarah found herself on the floor playing with dolls, listening to Emma's elaborate stories about princesses who saved kingdoms and dragons who just needed friends. "Emma," Sarah said during a pause in the play, "can I tell you about my little girl?" Emma nodded eagerly. Her name was Lily, and she was 6 years old. She loved princesses too, especially Belle from Beauty and the Beast, because Belle liked to read books. "Where is she now?" Marcus froze in the doorway, dish towel in hand, unsure how to handle this moment. "She got very sick," Sarah said gently, "and even though lots of doctors tried to help her, her body was too tired to get better, so she had to go to heaven." Emma processed this with the matter-of-fact acceptance of childhood. "Is that why you're sad?" "Yes, sweetie, I miss her very much. I bet she misses you too, but I think she can still see you from heaven. My Sunday school teacher says people in heaven can watch over us." Sarah felt tears starting again, but they were different now, softer somehow. "Do you really think so?" "I know so," Emma said with 4-year-old certainty. "And I think she likes that you came to have dinner with us. She probably thinks Daddy and I are nice." That night, after Sarah had gone home, with Dr. Peanuts temporarily in her custody, Marcus tucked Emma into bed with extra care. "Daddy," Emma said as he pulled her blankets up, "Dr. Sarah is really sad about her little girl." "Yes, she is. But I think she liked playing with me. She smiled when we played princesses. I think you helped her feel a little better tonight, Em. That was very kind of you." "Can she come back tomorrow?" Marcus kissed his daughter's forehead. "We'll see, sweetheart. Sometimes when people are very sad, they need time to feel better. I hope she comes back. I want to show her my other toys, and maybe Dr. Peanuts will help her not be so sad." Over the next few days, Sarah did return. First for Lily's funeral, which she somehow found the strength to get through, partly because she knew Marcus and Emma were thinking of her. Then for dinner again, and gradually, for regular visits that became a natural part of their routine. Sarah began to find healing in Emma's innocent joy and Marcus's steady presence. She started returning to work part-time, finding new purpose in her role as a pediatric oncologist. Her experience with loss had deepened her compassion for other families facing similar battles. Marcus, meanwhile, discovered that opening his small family to include Sarah had enriched all their lives. Emma thrived with the attention of another, caring adult, and Marcus found in Sarah a friend who understood the challenges of single parenthood and the fierce protectiveness that comes with loving a child. 3 months after their first meeting in the mall parking lot, Sarah was officially a permanent part of their lives. She'd moved to an apartment in their neighborhood and had dinner with them most nights. Emma called her Aunt Sarah and had successfully lobbied for Sarah to attend every tea party, school play, and bedtime story session. One evening, as they sat on Marcus's small porch, watching Emma play in the yard, Sarah turned to him with tears in her eyes. "I need to tell you something," she said. Marcus felt his stomach drop. "What is it?" "I've been seeing a therapist, working through my grief, and she's helped me understand something important." Sarah took a deep breath. "That day at the mall, I wasn't just crying because I was sad. I was there because I'd been planning to hurt myself. I couldn't see any point in continuing without Lily." Marcus felt the weight of this revelation settle over him. "Sarah, but then you stopped. You saw me, really saw me, when everyone else just walked by. You gave me your time, your family, your friendship. You literally saved my life, Marcus. And in doing so, you gave me a reason to keep living." Marcus reached over and took her hand. "You saved yourself, Sarah. You chose to accept help, to let us care about you. That took courage. I want you to know that Lily would have loved you both," Sarah continued. "She would have adored Emma, would have appointed herself big sister immediately, and she would have appreciated your kindness to her grieving mother. She sounds like she was an amazing kid." "She was, and I think she would want me to be happy, to find new ways to love and be loved, even though she's not here anymore." As the sun set behind them, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, Emma ran up to them, grass-stained and grinning. "Aunt Sarah, will you read me a story tonight?" "Of course, sweetheart. What story would you like?" "The one about a princess who helps other princesses when they're sad." Sarah looked at Marcus over Emma's head, both of them recognizing the beautiful symmetry of the request. Sometimes the most profound healing comes not from forgetting our pain, but from using it to connect with others, to offer the kind of compassion we wish we'd received in our darkest moments. That night, as Sarah read to Emma about brave princesses and the magic of friendship, Marcus realized that their chance meeting in a mall parking lot had created something neither of them could have imagined. A family born not of blood or marriage, but of mutual rescue, shared love, and the recognition that sometimes broken people fit together in ways that make them whole. 6 months later, Sarah officially became Emma's legal guardian alongside Marcus, ensuring that if anything happened to him, Emma would never be alone. It was a practical decision born of love and responsibility, but it also represented something deeper. The understanding that family is not always who you're born to, but who chooses to stay, who shows up in your darkest moments, and who helps you remember that even after the most devastating loss, love finds a way to grow again. On the anniversary of their first meeting, they returned to that mall parking lot, not as strangers in crisis, but as a family. Emma played on the nearby playground, while Marcus and Sarah sat on the same steps where they'd first talked. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd just kept walking that day?" Sarah asked. Marcus watched Emma on the swings, her laughter carrying across the parking lot. "I try not to think about alternate realities. This one turned out pretty perfectly. Even with all the sadness, all the grief. Especially because of it," Marcus said. "Pain taught us both how to recognize suffering in others, how to offer compassion without judgment. Our losses made us better at loving what we have." As they prepared to leave, Sarah placed a small bouquet of flowers on the steps where they'd first sat together. Not a memorial to sadness, but a celebration of the miraculous ways that human beings find each other in their darkest hours, and the beautiful families that can grow from the seeds of shared compassion. Sometimes the most important encounters begin with the simple decision to stop walking and pay attention to someone else's pain. Sometimes salvation comes not from being rescued, but from having someone to rescue. And sometimes the families we choose become more precious than anything we could have imagined, built not on perfection, but on the recognition that we all need each other to survive the beautiful, heartbreaking experience of being human. If this story touched your heart, remember that there are people all around us carrying invisible burdens, fighting battles we know nothing about. Sometimes the simplest act of acknowledgement, the briefest moment of genuine compassion, can change the entire trajectory of someone's life. In a world that often feels disconnected and hurried, we still have the power to see each other, to stop walking, and to offer the kind of kindness that reminds us all why life is worth living.